The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC. Go. Guidance. Go. Fido. Go. Prop. Go. GNC. Go. Max. Go. Eagle. Go. Ecom.
Go pending final steps to cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, good evening, Rift Nation Network family. How are you all this lovely Wednesday? Hot evening. I hope y'all are doing great. Another True Crime Wednesday evening, or mysteries as well. We bring in mysteries too, and we also bring in some conspiracy. We want to see what the astrology is telling us. And, you know, this year, I thought about this last night because, as you all know, I have talked about 2025 forever. I have not shut up about it. And I thought, does it really ever get any more accurate than this? The astrology has nailed everything. It's almost scary. It's to the point of being like, oh, this is really, really scary. Oh, I'm getting a message to activate chat. Please enable channels here. Okay. All right. How are you, chat? What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great Wednesday evening. We are streaming live tonight, as every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the Rift Nation Network, Mysteries Beyond the Scenes, on Twitch, Rumble, hello Rumble, YouTube, and of course, Facebook. I hope y'all are doing well. Hello, chat. Hello, Lee, Miss Linda, Miss Tammy. I hope y'all are doing well. We made it to Wednesday. You know, we used to call it Hump Day. I don't think people call it Hump Day anymore, do they? I don't know. I have to ask Vicky. You know, she's my young go-to. She's my millennial go-to at work. I'll have to ask her. She'll probably give me that side look like, what? What's Hump Day? So, hi, Lois. Hello, Cindy. Hello, Miss Denise. Yes, Cindy. Happy new moon, everybody. Just hello, Garnet. How are you from London? One of my favorite cities. I went to London. Oh, I'll tell you what, Garnet. I was in London when Diana was alive, and we absolutely loved it. They are the most wonderful people in the world. We didn't have enough time in London. I'll tell you what we did. We went from London. Okay, we flew over to London, which was a long flight. I was young, so it didn't really bother me. And then from London, we went down to the Middle East. We went, I don't know if we stopped in Baghdad or Cairo. Then on the way back, France, I think, and then home. But when we went to London, we wanted to stop in London and do some sightseeing. We loved it. I loved it. So I would love to go back someday. I would love to go back someday. But yeah, we went to the Tower of London, Buckingham Palace, of course. Everything's gold. It's just beautiful. But I think it was her people. They welcomed us. And they were so sweet to us. I mean, you know, American tourists stand out anywhere we go because we're loud and we're always smiling and we dress different. We're just different. We just stand out when we go overseas, don't we, Garnet? But welcome. I love that. I'm good. I'm really good. Got the AC straight for the girls. And Lois's internet has been off all. You know, when it gets this hot, you guys, the internet just goes crazy. And I'll tell you what, we've got one more heavy shift coming up. Actually, 6:25 right now. And that's Uranus. Well, everybody laughs. Of course, Keith will start giggling. Of course, when I say Uranus, all the Scorpios start giggling. That's our last big shift in 2025. So from now until then, like July 11th, earthquakes, maybe. Let's hope they got the earthquakes out of their system. But we have electric, you know, Uranus, it's electrical. It's moving into Gemini, which is going to be electrical things. We have 4 planets will be in retrograde in July. So we got a little bit more to go, but then, you know, we're free sailing after that. Yeah. Linda says, I think of those of us who are a bit older use hump day. Tammy says it's hump day. Himp day. Hump day. Hi, Keith. Oh my God, Tammy. Oh, look at you. Look, he is giggling. All the Scorpios in the house giggle when we talk about Uranus. Uranus is electricity. Okay. So my heater went out when Uranus was squaring on my chart. I'm like, oh no. My eyes are bothering me too, Tammy. I just took 2 allergy pills. So if I start like zooing out, that's why. But that's okay. Oh, look. Well, we've got New Orleans in the house with Miss Peggy. Hey, guys, are you guys all staying hot? I get my car now. It's 107 in my freaking car. The little thermometer thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? But when you're older, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the truth. When you're older, you guys, the heat doesn't bother me like it used to. I don't sweat as bad as I used to. Maybe because I'm slower. I don't know. But the cold bothers me more. The heat doesn't bother me, but the cold bothers me. It's just weird. I don't, maybe it's just 2025. Who knows? I don't know. It could be. It's very bizarre. Happy new moon. New moon's just for a little insight. And I know I do forensic astrology for the show, but just an update on this new moon. This is a very fortunate, lucky new moon. Play the lottery tomorrow. It's past. It's in Cancer. So especially our Cancers and water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. It's passing Jupiter. So Jupiter is with the sun and the moon. So it's very lucky. This is one of the luckiest transits we can have in astrology. You're going to find that the rest of the week, it's going to be calm, very calm, very secure. The energy is pulling back. That all the deception from the sun and Neptune, that's separating. So look for calm in Cancer. Cancer likes security. It likes the home. It just wants calm. So all of this energy we're having it's going to be emotional though. So if you hear a song on the radio, you start crying, it's normal with this energy. Don't worry about it. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't play. No, don't play now. I wouldn't play till November. I'm sorry. The only reason I say that is because when we have planets that shift back and forth from retro, we just had a major shift. Now it's a shift back. So we've got a bit like 4 or 5 shifts going on in July. If you know that the shifts are coming, you can deal with them. Mercury retrograde is in the mix, which that's not bad. Saturn, Neptune are in the mix, and Pluto's already in retrograde. So retrograde is a slowing down time. It's a time that we go over what we've done. So all that Aries energy that we've been bombarded with since March, actually this colossal energy hit around March. It's been building and building and building. I don't think things will really calm until after September, after the after eclipse season. We got a big eclipse season coming up in September, but we get through it. This is exciting right now. Enjoy it. Enjoy this because we're living in astrological history. So enjoy it. Pay attention to it. You'll never see this in your lifetime again. You won't. We won't. I mean, we're looking at stuff 3,000 years old. But let's get to true crime. For those of you who have never watched the show and our friends from Rumble, please join us in the chat Rumble on Rift Nation. It's true, Cindy. Look, yeah, you know what? I feel like I've been on a whitewater rafting tour. Absolutely. That's a great way to describe it, Cindy. And when you're an energy person. You're an energy person, Cindy. So think of people that aren't familiar with energy, how they're feeling. They're like, that's why people are running around goofy. We just, laugh. Laughing raises your vibrational level up higher than anything, by the way. When you laugh, your vibrational energy lifts high. So you can kind of look down at the chaos. So laugh. Get on there and look at the little AI babies on Reel. I love the babies, like the little Elon babies sitting on a space thing in a space suit. Joe Rogan or Theo, the little babies on Reels, the AI babies. Do things that make you laugh. That helps. But forensic astrology I use event charts, not natal charts. An event chart is different. It's different than a natal chart. I use timestamps from the event of a crime, when the person was last seen. And that's, speaking of which, our friends from Canada, I'm so frustrated with the 2 little ones that disappeared up in Canada, because there's mixed stories now that the mother has the children. that she took them to the road. I mean, it's a mess, that disappearance of the two babies. I need a good timestamp when they were last seen, because we can get some answers. But without an accurate timestamp, I can't do it. It's not accurate. So I take that time, the times, where the planets are, and I map it for search and rescue groups. I did not map this cold case tonight because the times were iffy. But I'm going to tell you what, cold cases are different because it's kind of a guessing game with cold cases. This particular case this evening is from 1993. So we don't have a time of unalive. We've got an estimate when she may have last been seen. We do have a time when she was discovered. So I used that time, and it seems to have worked. It seems like they're pretty good event charts. However, what I did do is I took her natal chart and I looked at what transits were going around her natal chart at the time of her unalive. Keith just got kicked off Facebook. Rumble wouldn't function. Get on YouTube. I should be on everything, hon, unless you're having storms or something. I hope y'all can hear me. I know I hit the live button. A couple weeks ago, I started the show and I didn't even hit the live button here. I was talking. Crazy. I'm telling you, 2025 is crazy. It's crazy. But let's get into tonight's story, you guys. Let's get started. This is a cold case from, let me try to make it bigger so y'all can see it. Let's do it this way. There. Okay. I'm on YouTube now, Keith. Denise is on Facebook. Hi, Keith. I hope you're doing well, hon. Okay, this case this is one of the saddest cases I have looked at. It's really sad because this lady, Stephanie Coyle, was 74 years old. She was from a little town, Arnold, PA. Now, Stephanie, I'll show you her. Here are flyers. Her son, to this day, 32 years later, after his mother was found unalived, brutally unalived, to this day is still seeking justice for his mother. 32 years later, still looking for her, still putting up posters, still looking for leads. He hasn't stopped. She was 74 years old. She was single. She became widowed and never remarried, although she did date. And she worked almost daily. She not really worked, but volunteered at a home, nursing home. Every day she would go to the rec center, and everybody loved her. I'm going to show you in her natal chart why. She was a complete Sagittarius. Okay. So when, Sagittarius is the fun sign. She was a stellium Sag. All of her planets were in Sagittarius. She was fun. She was friendly. She was the life of the party. She was positive. But here's her story. What brutally happened on July 16th, 1993. Now, what's interesting about this case is Stephanie had said that she had heard dogs barking a couple of days prior to someone coming, see the back door in her house, up in her apartment. Somebody went up those back steps and entered her home in that screen door. But she heard barking, like the neighbors' dogs were barking like someone was outside a couple days. And she had complained about it, that she couldn't sleep. She had gone to dinner with her son and daughter-in-law, and a neighbor saw her arrive home about 4:30 p.m. in the evening. Okay. So she went up the back steps and up the screen door. Now, what was interesting, the law enforcement could not tell if this was a forced entry or an entry because she had a tear in her screen door, which you could just put your hand in and open the door. So they couldn't tell, right? Yes, Keith, you know what? I can't wait for you to see this chart. This event chart has got that. So it's all over the chart. Yes. And she knew him. She knew him. Yep. You're right. Keith is right. Keith says stalker. So Keith is picking that up intuitively. But got up there, went up the back, and she was, it was brutal. Now, they can't tell if she was, I can't say it, AR'd. They don't know if she was AR'd or not. She was found the next morning at 8 a.m. by the landlord, and she was found on her bedroom floor, face down, where she had been stabbed multiple times. And they said it was kind of a pattern of the number of wounds in the neck on each side of the neck. And also choked. And she didn't have any clothes on. However, she didn't sleep with any clothes on. And her son stated in an interview that they used to holler at her about it because she would just walk around like that. You know, it's 1993. It was a different world in 1993. But this is back then. So they found her, but what was unusual is on her back was a big, okay, if you remember like the Ghostbuster sign, where it's like a Ghostbuster sign, where it's the circle with the line through it, or a road sign. That's what she had carved in her back. Now, they determined it was post-mortem. How do you determine that? Because there's no, evidence of blood all over. So it was post-mortem. It was a big circle the size of her back with the line, kind of like whiting somebody out of your life or no admittance, not allowed to go through this road. That was on her back. There was talk that people thought, this was some kind of a ritual. That's never been determined. It's never been determined if that were the case. So that's kind of the story of what happened to her. It's still what they consider an active cold case. Now, what was funny is her home, Keith, check this out, because you said stalked. Her home was very hard to find. Her apartment was upstairs in this home. So unless you knew her, it would be difficult to find her apartment up through the back entrance. That's my take on it. Now, that's my guess, but I think that's kind of common sense. So here we are, the investigation. And so the perp had to go up these back stairs through that back door. Okay. Perp knew her. Okay, now there's the back door. There we go. So there's that little portion of the screen door was a rip. Back in the day, everybody's screen doors had holes in them. Usually it was because when people got locked out, they would bust through the screen to open the door. If you locked your door. This again is 1993. Here are all the investigators. Okay. Now, they brought in a bloodhound. All right. The bloodhound went to a porch where someone lived close to the neighborhood. He was a younger man. All right. Nothing came out of anything on their investigation. Nothing came out. So her son, whose name is Dan Coyle, because we have Stephanie Coyle, Dan Coyle, hired a cold case investigator who's renowned. He's been on the History Channel. He's a cold case investigator by the name of Ken Maines. Ken came up with about 3 suspects and sent certified letters, certified copies to the DA, very frustrated. Didn't hear anything back. Nothing back. So he got frustrated about it. He had to ask one of the investigators to do genetic DNA, which genetic DNA, as you all probably know, we follow true crime because everybody uses Ancestry.com. I'm sure there are other databases out there besides Ancestry.com where you send in your DNA. They give you they look at your DNA and tell you you're half Irish or whatever you are. 90% Irish, 10% English, British, or whatever. That's what genetic testing is. They got her DNA, put that through genetic testing. And what they do is they try to match with a family. They go through the family tree and try to figure out who the perp could be. That's genetic testing through the public databases. So just be known that if you send your stuff through like all of those public places, that the police will go through that to help with cold cases. Now, that's how they found the Golden State Killer, through a genetic database, through family. So it's positive. It helps. So Keith says he just heard north. Could be north. So that's the situation with how she was found. Okay, Linda, GEDmatch is the one that is often used by detectives. I don't know what GEDmatch is. I'm sure it's one of those public databases. They're all over. I think it's great. So here's her son Dan with the posters. I believe her. It says $10,000 reward. I think it's up to about $90,000 right now. He still is putting her poster up. He has not. He's never. That's sad. He has never stopped. I think that's just amazing. He's never stopped. So he had to tell them about genetic testing, but this is a very small police department. Okay. So here she is with her family. She is in the middle. Now, let's take a look at the event chart first. Now, the event chart is, I used 8:03 a.m. It's when she was found. Now, she is the pink arrows. Okay. No, he did a wellness check. She didn't show up where she was supposed to that day for her job, which was kind of like her job. I'm not sure if she got paid for it or if she was a volunteer there at the center. So the landlord checked on her. That's how, Peggy. She is the pink. Okay. So it's Leo. The rising sign is Leo. Who rules Leo? The sun. So she is the sun. We also use the moon as the co-ruler. Check that out. 11th house. People she knew in social settings. someone she knew or was associated with, or could be somebody at work, friends, okay? She's also in the 12th house. Now, what I found was funny is she was a little, from what I understand, she had fun. She was a Sag. She was the life of a party. She was friendly. She was still dating and active. If I got to be careful how I say that, but so she was seeing people. So it seems to me that the sun in the 12th house. Now this is just from the astrology, and I'm guessing because, like I said, a cold case, we don't have a lot to go on. This could have been somebody she was dating that she was hiding from people, because that's the 12th house. So she's hiding. In hiding. The 12th house is when you hide. It's almost to the... So it was hidden. Something was hidden. Now go see where the sun is, where I circled in pink across. There you go, Keith. If we see things, the perp, the red arrow, is in the 6th house. It's Uranus. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So circled in green is Uranus. That's job, day-to-day work. That's your job. That's you're in my routine. I see you all the time. Uranus and the sun connect, and they're hidden. I believe this was somebody that she worked with. This is just from the astrology. 6th house is when a victim is stalked. The perp has been watching them. Right up next to Neptune. Now, we didn't have ring cameras in 1993. We didn't have those. So what could that be in 1993? It could somebody that suffered from mental illness. Neptune is mental illness. So we've got unexpected, someone she knew with friends. Now, all the pink arrows are pointing north. I can map it. I'll map it tomorrow, Keith, and see if the lines go north. If anything, let's see. Let's see how many miles. It could have been 16 miles. It could have been 23 miles away. It could have been 2.3 miles, 1.6 miles away. The person when he left, okay? So that's the event chart. Jupiter is someone within the area, within the neighborhood, close to a school or a church in the neighborhood. Somebody close to a school or a church within the neighborhood. They're attached to Venus. I'm going to say lived with their mother. Lived with their mother within the area, within the city limits. Definitely within 1.6 miles, 16 miles, 20 miles, within a 20-mile radius. 23, Keith, 16 and 7, the AC, what we do is we have the AC and the IC. We add them together, Keith, and it comes to 23. So the 23 or a 33 on a sign. 23 is the mileage. That's what's on the astrology chart, Keith, is the number 23. And it's not a number that you would see on the astrology chart because I have to add the AC and the IC, 16 and 7. So 23 is your number because that's what you got. So let's remember that, you guys, 23, and I'll map this tomorrow and see if it goes north. So look at this. Another thing that so we're going to look for violent markers. Oh, here's another thing. Fourth house, fourth house is Pluto. She was unalived in the home. So Pluto would be the actual assault in the home. Yeah, in the home. 22 is a malefic degree. It's at 22. But so we're going to look at, if you look at the second house with the number 2, that's Mars. Mars is your violence. Mars and Pluto can be your violence, and Uranus as well. But Mars, especially sharp objects or pow. Those are weapons. This is the violence. It's in the second house. This is funny. This is what I don't understand, because that's money. Now, nobody went through her purse. Nobody had gone through anything. Nothing was taken. So I wonder why that shows up in the money. Chart showing drugs or just mental. Neptune absolutely can be drugs. Yeah, Neptune can either be mental illness or drugs. Sure. Neptune is escapism. So yeah, it's drugs. Could be drugs or alcohol related. Could be drugs or alcohol, and it's right with the perp. So yeah, that could be it too. So, she was 74. I don't know if she had drugs or any kind of medication on her that they even knew that was missing. I don't know that, but that's the chart. And I think that chart is very, very telling, to be honest with you. But this is the chart. I don't know, Keith. Insurance would be the 8th house. Life insurance or estate would show up in your 8th house. But it's still money. I don't know. Yes, now they said she had won money at bingo. I don't know if money was, bingo money. But I don't know if that was, but nothing was taken. So I don't know. But it's in the second house. Things that we value, the home, money associated with, and look at the lines that are headed right up to the 11th house. It's associated with people that they know. And it's going to that female. If it wasn't, if the male lived with the mother, was the female one of her friends, or did she owe somebody money? Was somebody borrowing money from her? I don't know. That's a pretty telling chart, an event chart. That's a good chart for a time we don't have. But this is what I want to show you guys. This is her natal chart. Look at this. Wow. Okay. Wow. Look at this. She was born on December the 16th, 1918. If you look at all the planets up in her 10th house, okay, she is, she's got what we've got called a stellium. Okay. Stellium is, 4 or more planets up in one house. She was a Sagittarius. She was so friendly, so chatty, loving, trusted everybody. Okay. Now, this natal chart, I know we have supposed to have free will. This natal chart is so triggered, so very triggered. It's unbelievable. Whenever I look at natal charts that are associated with a violent unaliving, I look to the what we call the lunar nodes. The north node is your destiny, why you came here, and the south node is your past lives, your karma. They're always opposing one another. Every time I look at an unalive chart, and somebody has had violence on them, the south and north nodes are triggered. Not only was her north node is up at the top of the chart in the 10th house with the red arrow that I got pointed next to the initials MC. That's her natal north node. Okay. That was being squared by transit Saturn. When we look at transits, we also look at the nodes. I do. And then I look at what are considered malefic planets that can get Uranus, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto, where things can flip on a person. So natal Saturn in her chart in the 6th house was also opposing transit Saturn, almost identical on her ascendant, which is her physical body. That's the purple line that goes across. So we got her north and south nodes were triggered. Saturn was triggering her natal Saturn. Mars was conjunct. Mars is a planet of action, can be violence. Was conjunct her Neptune, delusional, not seeing clearly. And one of the biggest culprits of all, up in the 11th house, Uranus was conjunct her natal Mars. Now, Saturn was also, transit Saturn was conjunct that entire stellium, which is her sun, her Mercury, her Venus, her midheaven. It's crazy. This chart is crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. So this is a very, very malefic chart. I hate to say that because it's just not a good natal chart for somebody to go through. But this is, on the day that she was unalived. What else was on here? Uranus was conjunct Mars, Saturn, and another one was Saturn opposing Saturn on her ascendant. Saturn opposing Saturn. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Mars and Neptune. Delusional. Uranus and Mars together. Something could this is a crazy chart. It's a very triggered chart where violence could hit just like that. And it did. It did. So that is her story. This is a very sad natal chart. I hate that. 74 years old. Everybody loved her. Beautiful woman. Her whole life, living her dream life. It's just very sad. So I'm going to do that, Keith. I'm going to look because those numbers came to you. And Lee says there was a man found unalived in the river not far from her house who was also rumored to win money at bingo. I don't know. Maybe that's the man that did it. If he lived in the neighborhood. Oh, hi, Denise. Denise, really? Welcome to the chat, Denise. Denise says she lived exactly across the street from me, was the nicest lady. I wish the family could get closure. Denise, I wish I had a better timestamp. I used, that timestamp that she was located, and Keith was getting a lot of intuitive stuff. So most everything is on the north side of the chart. It is. Keith is looking at that. I'm going to map it. I'm going to map it tomorrow because he got the exact 23, which is very interesting. So Denise, welcome to the chat. And if you can add anything to the story, Denise, that I missed, I mean, what a lovely lady. I mean, she was all Sag, very happy. It's just the life of a party, positive, fun. I love her chart. I love her chart. Moon in Gemini. She was chatty Kathy. She had a good time. Life of the party. So Denise, thank you for joining. And if you can add anything to her story, please do. I'm going to keep looking at it. One of the best in the country with Ken. It's got one of the best investigators in the country looking at this. And he had 3 people of interest that I guess they didn't follow up on. I don't know. I don't understand that. Especially with her son, because he needs closure. He has worked so hard to find who did this to his mother. It's just a horrific crime. So thank you, Denise, for tuning in. That's wonderful. That's true. And Keith said most everything is on the north side of the chart. Does anybody have anything else they pick up or would like to add to this? Keith says it's a repeater. That's crazy. I know. You picking up those numbers is crazy. Tammy, you're kidding. Yeah. So that's, Denise. Yeah, Denise lived she said that she lived across the street from her. She was the nicest lady. I wish the family could get closure. Denise lived in the neighborhood. Trusting, maybe too trusting. Denise says, yes, and thank you. I remember that day. There was a kid across the street that was into devil worshiping. Interesting. Was that across the street by you, Denise? Because I'm going to map it. I'm going to map this so I can send you, if you know the area well, I could email it to you or send it to you. I would love to do that. And maybe there was a kid across the street that was into devil worshiping. Yeah. Was that your neighbor, Denise? Jeez. Holy Toledo. Very trusting. We were all trusting back then. Didn't Ken announce names? Not to my knowledge. And I mean, even if he did, I don't really want to repeat them because they're people of interest. And, I just... Here's Tammy's got a question for you, Denise. Did the kid live in the brown house? Is that the young man that the dog went to the porch directly across the street? I feared for my mom after bingo. After that. Oh, absolutely. Do you all feel it was a crime of robbery, which started as robbery, Denise? in the neighborhood? Did you all get that impression? We lived at 1632 Avenue, Arnold Avenue, across the street. And I think it's odd too that the dogs were barking a couple days in a row, that it woke her up. I just think that's odd too. That's very, very odd. It's a very sad story. I would love to see her son get some, let's hope that this genetic DNA testing gives them some clues. Keep her story going, you guys. We'll keep following up on it. I will. I will. I'll stay on it. And if anything breaks and anything new, I'll certainly keep up the info. The charts were really telling, I think. Definitely think it was somebody, just according to the astrology, that she knew. That's without a doubt. That's without a doubt. And Linda said it may have started as a robbery, but then he could become frustrated or angry and didn't mean to unalive her. But when he did, I think he definitely meant to unalive her. This was a very brutal, angry assault, which maybe he got angry if he found out she didn't have any money. That could have been it as well. He could have gotten angry when she said, well, I don't have any money. And maybe he was startled. Oh, good. Good. Well, let's hope that, we can get some closure for the family. Okay, you guys. Thank you, Denise, for that information. That's interesting. Thank you. Okay, here's an update on Minnesota. As you all know, the unaliving of the Speaker of the House and everybody, the big manhunt last week in Minnesota of the guy. We still don't have a lot of answers. This is his $500,000 home. This is where he went back and got money. This is the home with financial trouble. Now, this is the Buick that he states that he bought this Buick, y'all, at a bus stop at 6 a.m. He bought this Buick from somebody for $900 and an e-bike. That's what's being claimed here, that he bought that Buick. This is what was in the vehicle. There were also 45 weapons in the home, as well as a lot of cash. Also in the car was a letter that he states that Governor Walz hired him to assassinate her, so that he hired him to unalive a senator in Colorado, or my bad, in Minnesota, federal senator, so that he could take her Senate seat. That's what the killer is stating. So I thought this was pretty interesting, you guys, because just like that story that was in all the headlines, and just like this crooks from Pennsylvania, which I still have questions on with this one in Pennsylvania, it went away. It literally has disappeared off of, and that's when my red flag, and I jump in my rabbit holes and get my tinfoil hat on, is when all of a sudden the media just completely stops talking about it. When they stop talking about something and it's not on everybody's radar, that's when I'm like, how can this be off of people's radar in Minnesota? This was a lovely woman, Speaker of the House, and her husband, and they were unalived by this brutal man. So a lot still needs to come out of that. But apparently no journalists are pushing for any of the story. But that's where it's at right now. That was claimed to be his confession letter that they found in the vehicle, that he was bought and paid. He was bought. That could make I hate to say this, but that might explain all these cash laying all over the place. Yeah, that too. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation. There's no denying that, Tammy. They do. There's no denying that. That's just a fact. They do. They do. I don't care what side you're on. That's very apparent. But that's the show tonight. Thanks, Linda. Oh, Denise, welcome. Thank you for all you do. Oh, you're more than welcome, Denise. And Lee says the bleached out hair. Okay. And Keith, the good show. All righty, you guys. Well, listen, thank you guys so much for tuning in. The cold case, we'll just put her poster up. Maybe somebody will remember something. I mean, even we could still spread her missing post, not her missing, but if you have information, somebody might know something. It doesn't hurt to get her, Stephanie's information out there on social media. It's an interesting story. And perhaps there's another case similar to hers, to Stephanie's, that somebody might be reading it and say, wait a minute, we've got a connection there. We've got another victim that had that same symbol on her back. That symbol, I think, is very, very scary. And it's just, if we could get the information out, maybe somebody would say, oh, there's another case in California or another state that maybe we never know. We just never know. Every little click that we get from a missing poster, we just don't know. It could be anybody. Oh, you're welcome, Denise. New moon next 30 days and next 6 months for your intentions to come to fruition. This is a wonderful new moon. Well, I'll say a prayer that Stephanie's, the monster that did this to her, in your thoughts on the new moon is caught. Because the new moon illuminates. So let's get this guy caught. Let's get him caught. So, well, you guys have a great week. Stay cool. I know it's so freaking hot everywhere, all over the place, but try to stay cool. And like I said, the planets are calming down a little bit right now. So enjoy this little breather while we've got it before things amp up again in about a week. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And I will see you guys next Wednesday for another mystery or another case. So have a great week, y'all. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.